got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the show. Yes, we are starting late. We had some issues in the technical issues here. But we are here. I guess better late than never. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. And there is one line open if someone want to take it now. It is raining, folks, like 90 going north. It's a raining night and day in L.A., and I feel like it's raining all over the world. Raining night in L.A. It's amazing. I don't know if we ever had this much rain. And it's supposed to rain all week. What the? Anyway, as I said, you can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. My biblical question for this week: why does God allows the devil to attack you? Why does God allows the devil to attack you? Isn't that an amazing question? Why? Why? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show, JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad if you're like busy and can't sit and watch it, and you're thinking that it you're going to podcast, and you can podcast all the show, but you can also be listening while you are out and about. All right? And don't forget to support us on social media. Social media everywhere. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell. We're on Instagram, Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram, and JLP Talk on X. All right? And to donate to have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. I don't know if you noticed, Jesse has on a raincoat. I mean, if you're going to be out there in the weather, he need a raincoat.
What the?
That's why he has it on today. Amazing. It is raining on Jesse. And by the way, it's Tuesday. And every Tuesday is Bible Thumper. No, I'm sorry. Country and Western Tuesday. Yeehaw. A distant morning sun, a sad time in my life. I walked through the rainy night. So we might well stop it if we're not going to get a sound. I tried to make up for no sound. I don't know what's going on, but no sound. Isn't that amazing? So since we started late, I'm going right to the phones for now. The phones are smoking. I want to go to Clint, a first-time call out of North Carolina. Clint, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. I tell you what, by the grace of God, I am so happy to hear from you. I've been watching your videos on YouTube, and I really believe there might be on down the road a little bit of interesting interview you might want to give me later on, because I got an amazing story, I tell you what.
Amazing.
Growing up here in the south of North Carolina as a white, straight, Christian male.
Amazing.
Amazing, I tell you what. But my question today is, I don't know if I'm racist or not. I grew up believing that I grew up loving everybody because I was brought up in the church, but I don't like no one. And I think I might be racist. I kind of believe I try not to be racist. I believe everybody might have a little racism in them somewhere down the line.
Why do you think you might be racist?
Well, growing up here in the country in the south of North Carolina, I always grew up, no offense, sir, because I love you and all, but I always grew up believing black people were sort of like a secondary people. And mostly because of the culture. And growing up, I would see like the older white folks, like my uncle, grandfather, father, and everything, always building. And I've always saw black people, it seemed like they want to destroy it. And it could be that, maybe a lot of black people don't have no identity as an American. I don't know. I'm not black. But I always felt like the white man was a little bit superior due to the fact of always trying to build, trying to do right, even though I know there's white people that are bad and evil. And every time I saw black people when I was younger, I never really saw them as black like the children when I played with children. But it was more like the black adults that I would always think that they were less superior.
How old are you?
How
old are you?
I believe I am 35. I don't keep up with the times no more.
And so, but you yet haven't told me why you think that you're a racist. And because of time, get right to the point of why you think you're racist.
Well, I believe a small part of me still believes that white people in the South, in the country at least, are superior because they're not destructive. They're always innovating, I don't really know the right word, but I just think that white people do most everything better for the most part.
But yeah, you haven't, because of time, you still haven't told me why you think you're racist.
Well, sometimes I see mixed couples, and I don't know, I feel like ever since the Tower of Babylon, God had us separated for reasons. And I don't really like seeing mixed couples, but my wife is not white.
What is she?
She's Filipino.
Oh, you're married to a Filipino. So you yet haven't told me why you think you're racist.
Well, I just think white people are usually in the long run a little superior than most other races. And I don't like...
Let me just say this because of time, Clarence. There is no such thing as racism. It doesn't exist. It's just a made-up word. And in order to cover up what the real problem is, and the real problem is that human hearts are evil, their nature are evil until they return to the Father. And all angry people, and all people are angry too until they return to the Father, but all angry people are evil. And our battle is a spiritual battle. There's no such thing as white supremacy or racism. And you're right in that in today's America, white people are more innovative and creative, and they tend to build, while most of the blacks tend to destroy. But that's not racism to see that. But if you were angry about seeing it, you would be evil. You would be judging them because you think you're God, right? But if you can see it without being angry about it, you're fine. No problem.
Well, it also hurts me because I care, and I wish people would do better.
But it shouldn't hurt
I'm
you.
always try to go with God.
It shouldn't hurt you about what someone else does, because that's their world. And most people, most of all races, most people love their own hell. So it should be okay with you if they're in their hell. Have you forgiven your mother?
Of course, rest in peace to my mama.
You forgave her?
Yep.
You told her?
Yep.
Amazing. Well, no, there's no such thing as racism. Just drop the anger and you'll be fine, all right?
All right, and I had one.
Oh, sorry, Claire. I got to take a break, man. Look like you're about to say you have one more question. I'll be back in a moment. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality. Country and Western Tuesday. I saw on the news report this morning that there was a country and Western guy who expired, and they said he expired from cancer, and I believe they say he was 60 years old. Whatever his name is, may his soul rest in peace. May his soul rest in peace. The Hake report is coming up at 9 a.m. The Hake report at 9 a.m. from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then after the Hake report, Joel Friday TV, you be like, Joel Friday TV at 11 a.m. And then at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. Energy given to him by God. A lot going on. So it was Toby Keith, age 62. According to reports, he died of stomach cancer. May his soul rest in peace. May his soul rest in peace. I want to go back to the phones. We started late, so I got to take some calls. And then we'll get to the super chats and all that. Let me go to Rosario. Rosario out of New York. Rosario, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jesse. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Beautiful. Good morning to you. How are you?
All is well.
actually. Yeah, I thought maybe you were taking a long moment of silence for Toby Keith being Country Western Tuesday.
I'm sorry?
I said I thought maybe you were taking a long moment of silence this morning, starting late for Toby Keith being Country Tuesday.
Oh, no, we were having issues with the equipment here on this end. But all is well for now.
Great. Well, I was calling to maybe respond to the biblical question.
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
Well, when you presented the question, the story of the prodigal son came to mind. I'm no Bible thumper, so I couldn't tell you the chapter or the book or what. But, God is like the Father. He's obviously the Father, and us being his sons and daughters. And like the story in the prodigal son, he let his son leave. He gave him his fortune, said, go on, do what you will. I'll be here waiting. And I feel like that's God with us. He's just there waiting. And, like you mentioned yesterday about the devil making stabs at us. So he allows the devil to stab at us with lust and drugs and all the other thrills that we get. And God's just home waiting. He's just there waiting. He's allowing it to happen. And like in the story in the prodigal son, when he returned, the father wasn't judging his son. He wasn't angry at his son. He wasn't mad. He was there waiting with open arms and just so allowing those things to happen to us. It's in hopes that we return home to the Father. At least that's how I see it.
I appreciate that, Rosario. I will put my very interesting, by the way. I want to comment, respond to it, but I can't. And I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday.
Well, I look forward to hearing your 2 cents, Jesse. Have a great day.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Amazing. So I mentioned that it's raining all over California, right? At least Los Angeles. And a friend of mine said, I've already built my ark. I'm out of here. But I think, according to what I heard or read in the Bible, it's supposed to be fire next time, not rain, man. So put your ark away. It's going to be fire. You may need an underground bunker or something. Amazing. Let's, Devon. Is it Devon? Devon. There's one line open, 888-775-3773. Devon out of Texas. Devon, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to share with you about how music and frequencies being used to brainwash people in the same way, anger is and hatred.
Okay.
First, let me start with this. So essentially, nowadays, all instruments and all music has been tuned to 440 hertz. That's the frequency. And that frequency, what that does, for example, if you vibrate water to that frequency, the water is like crashing around and like is all messy, right? But if you play water to the frequency of like 432 hertz, the water makes like beautiful shapes in it. And the same way how our bodies are 70% water, we're being affected by the 440 hertz music.
And where'd you get that from?
I don't know. I kind of just like, from what I've learned, ever since like I was like a kid, I kind of like knew this, and I've like experienced it myself as well. But from what I know, I've looked it up online, and Hitler, he's actually the one who started turning music into 440 hertz. Like what he would do, he would play 440 hertz music at his rallies or whatever, his speeches. And what that would do, it would make everybody in the audience angry and confused and their bodies like out of balance. So they would easily believe his lies, You
read
saying
that?
like, oh, yeah, it's online. Yes, sir.
What you don't realize is that all angry people are already brainwashed. They're already hypnotized. They're already unconscious. And as a result of being unconscious, they're easily seduced by the outer world, because if you were not unconscious already, you can listen to music and enjoy it and not be affected by it because you would not identify with it or anything, but you'll still be able to enjoy it. And so maybe that's happening or maybe not, I don't know. But I do know that all people who are angry are already unconscious.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right about that.
They're already brainwashed. So that's why they are affected by not only what's happening inside of them, but also outside of them, inside of others in the world. And that's why you must overcome anger and fear so you can overcome the brainwashing, because God gave human beings the talent to make music. And he didn't give them the talent to make music so that they can be brainwashed. He gave it to them so they might enjoy the talents. But you got to overcome the anger first so that whatever may or may not be happening from other evil people, it won't affect you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, could I also answer the biblical question?
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
Well, what I kind of see is like, from what I've heard and learned and know, is that Jesus already died, right? He said it is done, and he defeated Satan. So the way I see it, Satan is fighting a losing battle. So God's like, okay, you can do whatever, you can kick, you can scream, you can fight back, but you've already lost, That's the way that I see it.
And that's why God allowed the devil to attack us?
Yes, sir, because he's already lost. So he's like, you do your thing, but you can't win, you've already lost.
I appreciate that. I'll put my little 2 cents on Sunday. Thank you for that, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Amazing.
Uh-huh.
You too. Have a good one. 888-775-3773. Let me go to a first-time call out of California, Margaret. Margaret, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
I appreciate being on the air.
Thank you.
I need to tell everybody, when we have open borders, people don't realize what's going on. When these people come, they come from third world countries, and they're bringing their diseases into our country and all the other countries. And the hospitals and doctors are not saying nothing about it. Our TB is exponentially huge, and no one is talking about this. And when you don't think about it, when these people are coming through, we're being invaded, basically. And these people are bringing these diseases into our countries. I think, and no one talks about it.
Yeah, I noticed. I noticed.
No one.
I noticed I have been seeing lately TB, tuberculosis, and smallpox, and all kinds of diseases are coming back. Diseases that we had been.
No, it wasn't available 50 or 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's you see it.
Yeah. That's amazing. And it's because our government is supposed to solve the problems, but instead of solving the problems, they create the problems.
Yeah.
Because they have a hidden agenda. It's a personal gain for them. They only care about money and power for themselves, each individual that represent us in government. It doesn't matter. They just don't care anymore. And the people, because they're not in control of their own lives, they don't force the government to work for us by firing them if they don't do it. The people don't care, and so the representatives can do whatever they want.
Yeah, but, these powerful politicians, I don't think they realize they're peons. They're nothing. These guys higher up are destroying our world.
Yeah.
And I don't think they realize.
They do realize it, but they don't care, Mark.
There will be no control or power when you destroy everything. And I think they live in a friggin' bubble. Because it's horrific, the things that they're doing to our country and in the world. And I just think they're living in a world that it is a fantasy.
Why do you think the voters don't vote them out?
But excuse me?
Why won't the voters vote them out and vote in people?
I hope they do.
But they haven't.
But
They've had a chance to do it.
Our voting system has been corrupted, unfortunately.
No. Yes, that probably happened too. But Margaret, you got to think about this. In California, the state government is all, for the most part, not all, is Democrats, and the voters of California know that the Democrat representatives are not on their side, but yet they still vote for the Democrats.
They don't.
They don't what?
Our voting system has been compromised.
You say they don't what?
No. Look at San Francisco. That beautiful city has been decimated.
But the voters still vote for the Democrats up there.
No, they don't.
Why you say no, they don't?
No, because our voting system has been compromised.
No, that may be happening. I don't know. But I do know that the people keep voting in the Democrats. Look what they did.
Don't.
They just voted in a stone liberal black mayor of Los Angeles.
They don't.
Margaret.
No,
hey, Margaret. Do you know that we have a black female mayor of L.A.?
Well, they're like political whores, if you could say that.
Hey, do you know that we have
bought and paid for?
Do you know we
and
have
if we got politicians who are
Margaret
are whores and being paid for?
Margaret,
our system is screwed.
Margaret, do you know we have a black female mayor of L.A.?
Yeah.
Do you know that the people voted her in?
I don't believe they did. No.
So you don't think that the people of L.A. voted for her?
No.
Why not? Why do you don't think that?
Because L.A. is going down a shithole. You really think that Los Angeles citizens are voting when everything is going to hell? No.
Come on, man. Amazing.
No. Hell no.
Margaret, how old are you?
Oh, I'm old. I'm in my 60s.
Right
and I've seen the good life.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I've seen the mother and father and a lovely family deal. And I saw a beautiful families, and what's happening now is it's horrific. What's happening?
Are you afraid? Do you have fear about what's happening?
I no, because I can't control what's going on right now. I can't. Yeah, right. I have no control because it's way out of control.
So according to the LA Times, Karen Bass drew more votes than any mayor candidate in LA history.
Well, you see what's going on in the world, right?
Yeah.
And you realize something is perpetuating this, right?
Right. Well, let me just say this, and then I got to run. But the people got to wake up and stop blaming anyone else. They just got to wake up and take responsibility as adults. Each individual got to take responsibility for their own life, and then things will start to change, Margaret, when they start thinking for themselves. Call me again, Margaret. I appreciate it. Super chat.
Super chat.
Thinking Out Loud bought you a coffee, and I don't think we addressed it fully. Jesse, is it beta to work from home?
No, it's not beta to work from home.
Okay.
What the? No, it's not. I want to say unless you're just a lazy person. But if you're just a lazy person, you're not going to even work at home.
Right.
Amazing. I don't think so. Thank you.
He's the one, he or she is the one who asks you if you wake up past 6 a.m., you got issues. Why did you say that? And you explained it yesterday.
Right. Oh, okay.
White Lion bought a coffee. Hey, Jesse and Hake, I'm off the 19th. I'll be calling in. So in 2 weeks, roughly, a little bit less.
So today is the 6th.
Right.
You're not going to be off until the 19th? What the? Thank you.
If the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise.
And the creek is rising in L.A. Believe me.
And they're getting rid of copper phone lines. So if you're over 65, White Lion, then you might not be able to call in from your landline.
Why not?
Because they're getting rid of copper phone lines.
Why?
Obama.
I don't know if anybody uses landlines anymore anyway.
Anyway, White
Thank you.
Lion continues, the devil is constantly deceiving me, having me think it's my thoughts. I have to issue corrections for some statements I've made. Keep in mind when asking me questions that some things cannot be revealed yet.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cow, or K-O-W, bought a coffee. Good morning, Jesse and team.
Good morning.
What does it mean to get angry at seeing the truth? Does it mean you haven't yet accepted that you are just as evil as everyone else until you forgive yourself and others?
Repeat that.
What does it mean to get angry at seeing the truth? Does it mean you haven't accepted that you're just as evil as everyone else until you forgive yourself and others?
When you get angry at seeing the truth?
Right.
When you get angry at seeing the truth. Let me smoke on that question. What do you think about that question?
Maybe you're seeing facts and not truth. Because the whole truth, I don't think you would be angry necessarily.
Right. So what?
I don't think you would be angry necessarily, right?
Right. I don't know how you can get angry at seeing the truth. But maybe I'm just this question might not be clear. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Shout out to the top contributors yesterday. Fatty Wat, Legless something, and Kid Combo 1.0. Appreciate you guys. White Lion answers the biblical question.
Okay.
Why
does God allow the devil to attack you?
To test our faith and loyalty, especially in the coming years, and to keep us sharp, because the devil doesn't quit, doesn't get tired constantly attacking us, but that's his job. He's doing his part.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday about that.
5 coffees from Mike G. Hey, Jesse and crew, long-time listener, fan. I just watched Nefarious. It was amazing. I will say I felt bad for Edward during the scene where he was requesting his last meal and the demon took over. Since you spoiled it, I'm spoiling it too. I'm reading the spoiler. Because you spoiled it already, right?
Yes.
So we don't care about spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
He was requesting his last meal and the demon took over and said he didn't want it anymore. It made me sad for a moment. Edward was talking like the 8-year-old boy he was before he became possessed. All he wanted was a burger and a shake. I was like, what the? Then I snapped out of it. Shows how much Satan hates humanity. Stay well, guys.
So there's a scene where Edward...
Yeah, apparently.
That's his name?
According to this super chat.
They came in and asked him what did he want. before they put him into the chair because I guess you're supposed to eat and shower. I wonder why they want you to shower. They about to burn you in the chair. Why you need to shower?
So that they don't cook your dirt onto the chair.
What?
They don't. That way they don't cook.
But you're already smelling from your skin burning.
I know, but it's uncorrupted skin.
What?
I don't know.
But anyway, the jail operator asked him, "What do you want for your last meal?" And he was like, "I want a cheeseburger. I want everything on it." Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry. Take a break. That's back what in a moment. The enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good, or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of our one of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show already. It is Tuesday, February 6th, AD 2024. Complicated business, folks. Pardon the late start there. JLP will be right back. There is one line open. You can call in right now during Hake News, not fake news. Our analog phones going obsolete. Thanks, Obama. And I don't even understand this stuff. CNN reports, Commie Nonsense Network, phone companies are shifting away from copper landlines in a sweeping move that will most likely impact people over age 65 and small business owners. Consumers who love their landlines will eventually have to decide whether to hang up on their service or potentially face higher costs. What a mess. And the presidential race. Our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, on Monday urged the so-called Supreme Court to keep his name on Colorado's 2024 ballot, accusing his challengers of pursuing an anti-democratic legal case against him. This comes as the so-called High Court is set to hear arguments Thursday whether to disqualify Trump from office because of the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Colorado's top court previously concluded the 14th Amendment's insurrectionist ban applies to our greatest president, Trump, thereby making him ineligible for office. According to a CNN poll, views of Trump's efforts to remain in office following the 2020 election remained effectively unchanged since the public hearings on his role in the Capitol riot, which he had no role in that. 45% said he acted illegally, 32% said he acted unethically, and 23% said he did nothing wrong at all. Based 23%. Invasion ongoing. The so-called government is not doing its job. CNN says a major bipartisan, meaning evil, border deal and foreign aid package appears to on track to fail in the Senate later this week amid relentless attacks from our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, and top House Republicans. The grim odds facing the bill have also put aid to Ukraine and Israel, two supposedly key U.S. allies. How? How is Ukraine a key ally? In jeopardy. Speaker Mike Johnson said that the House will vote this week on a standalone bill providing aid for Israel, ratcheting up pressure on senators to abandon their efforts to keep Israel aid linked with other issues, including the crisis at the U.S. southern border. Crooked Joe Biden would veto a standalone aid package for Israel, according to the Black on the Inside White House, calling the bill a cynical political maneuver. What a mess, huh? Isn't that wild? Also, the royal family, King Charles III, has been diagnosed with cancer, according to Buckingham Palace. He's merely the tender age of 75 years old, the British monarch. He left a London hospital following a separate procedure for an enlarged prostate. Ugh. Charles's diagnosis was caught early, said British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Nice English name. Not. He said that today, wishing the king a speedy recovery, so-called king. Exact type of cancer has not been revealed. No further details expected at this stage. Prince William is Charles's son and heir to the throne, and Queen Camilla are expected to take on more public duties, so-called, to account for Charles's absence. What a mess. Super Bowl ticket prices have dropped. They still cost a fortune, according to CNN. Tickets to this year's game remain the most expensive on record, with the average purchase price currently at $9,850. 10 grand to see bunch of lamos and some talented athletes and some talented singers. What a mess. There's also something else going on. There could be a category. Will there be a category 6 for a hurricane? I don't know. The idea for adding a category 6 for the Saffir-Simpson scale has been discussed for years. Scientists are advocating for the change, and I wonder if that's just propaganda. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 2.
To stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show already. What a mess! It's raining in L.A. I feel like it's raining all over the world. You can get involved by calling 888-7753, 773-888-77-JESSE, Jesse, Jesse. My biblical question for this week: why does God allow the devil to attack you? Why does God allow the devil to attack you? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show, JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And you can also listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad if you are too busy to sit and watch it. You can podcast it, but you can also listen while you're doing whatever you're doing, taking fentanyl, committed suicide, coming across the border with free Obama phones, whatever you're doing, getting beat by your wife. You can be listening to the show by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. And you can podcast later. Follow us on social media. Like, follow, ring the bell, and blah, blah, blah. All right? We're on cozy.tv/JLP. Cozy.tv/JLP and Rumble. You got to know how to rumble.com/JLP. Jesse P. Peterson. No, Jesse Lee Peterson. And last but not least, to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or rebuildingtheman.com. It's Tuesday. It's the second hour of the show today. It is Country and Western Tuesday. Bring back, oh, bring back my country to me. Bring back my country to me. What the? Who let the dogs out? Woo. Amazing. Amazing. Let me just say to the callers, I'm going to get to your calls here in a minute and your super chats. I have to tell you, now I know some amazing writers, right? People that know how to write books, really. But I'm about to introduce you to one of the most amazing writers on this side of heaven today. He is, when he writes books and things like that, it's the real deal. You can see what's going on, and you can understand it. The only reason you don't understand his writing, his books, you just don't want to understand it. You just have made up your mind. I don't care how clear it is. I'm not going to understand it. And I'm not kidding, folks. I've known Jack CASHILL for a long time now, and I've worked with him over the years. He has a brand new book out called Untenable. Tenable. I'm going to have him explain that word in a minute here. This is the book. And I highly, Mamma Mia, Hola, si, senor. Galoshes, I highly recommend it, really, for everybody. Amazing! I don't care what color you are, how old you are, how rich or poor, I highly recommend this book. And he's going to tell you how to get it, all right? Jack is an independent writer and producer. Jack has written a dozen books under his own name and collaborated on a dozen more. He has a PhD from Purdue University in American Studies. And I want to talk to Jack about this amazing book, White Flight, Gentrification, Black America, his book, Untenable. Tenable. I'm black and slow. Jack.
Hey, Jesse, good to see you again.
It's good to see you, man. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you know, I was told, the client scientist told me just a year or two ago that you guys were in a permanent drought. I mean, so is it possible that they were wrong?
They're 100% wrong.
I can't imagine.
It is literally raining cats and dogs in LA right now. You see Jesse has on his raincoat. It's amazing.
No, I mean, it's, you know, the problem is, you know, for a lot of people, the environmentalism fills their God hole in their lives.
Yeah,
I mean, they use it to replace what they're missing from their own spiritual being, and they get crazy about it. You know? They have to make stuff up. You know,
what a mess.
Yeah,
Jack, how do you pronounce your book? Say your book title.
Untenable.
Tenable. Okay,
Untenable. Let me just tell you how I got that title. And I was, you know, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and at a time of transition. It was, you know, the 60s, everything was going wrong. You were in Gary at that time, so
right.
You knew you saw was there.
Yep.
And you know, when we moved to the block in about 1953, when I was about 4, it was a stable, working class, racially harmonious, integrated neighborhood. There were immigrants from 14 different countries on our block, you know?
Yeah.
Just on our one block. For about 10 years, that's, you know, into the early 60s, that stability maintained itself. Everyone got along. everyone was some kind of ethnic or another, or we had black friends, we had Puerto Rican friends, Italian, Irish, whatever. And then it all fell apart. And I mean, collapsed quickly. Crime spiraled out of control. And I asked a friend of mine, when I was researching the book, an old friend of mine from my block, I said, Artie, you were the last guy to leave the block. And Artie is one of the few guys who left that period and remained a Democrat. And partly because his father was in the union and that sort of thing, and his wife is kind of woke, and he's just trying to get along, I guess. And I said to him, why did you leave the block finally? And he said, well, Jack, it became untenable. And I said, what do you mean by untenable? He goes, well, when your home gets invaded for the second time, that's untenable.
Yeah.
When your mother gets mugged for the second time, that's untenable. You multiply that by 1 million, and you have the story, not just a white flight or white ethnic flight, but a flight. Because in my book, for instance, I tell the story of another Newark native who had almost identical experiences that my family did. And we know about it because her daughter became famous. And that is Whitney Houston's mom, Cissy Houston, married a guy from my neighborhood. He went to my neighborhood high school, a nice, loving home. She was making pretty good living as a backup singer, had a nice home, raising little Whitney. And then she goes, then the crime came and the drugs came and then the riots came. And I said to John, we got to get out of here. And they moved to the suburbs.
Yeah.
Just like Kanye West's mom in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And Kanye gets mugged in the park. And she says, Dottie, I believe her name is Dottie, she says, call it black flight, call it whatever. We're out of here.
That's right.
And no one would acknowledge what was going on.
Yeah.
But you have. In fact, I quote your book, Antidote, in here because I don't think anyone's quite understood the nature of the problem better than you have, or who has articulated it more clearly.
Yeah,
and
thank
that is
you.
The problem of the broken home and
Yeah.
the misplaced and projected anger.
I appreciate you quoting your book, too. I was surprised to see that, and I'm grateful. But you're right. As a matter of fact, my producer, Sean, is from that area, too, that you grew up in. And
I saw the 201 area code come in.
Yeah. But, as I write in The Antidote, and you mentioned it in your book, so I was down in Alabama. The whole Jim Crow law thing was happening, but it wasn't affecting the blacks at all. And we had families, we were working, we treated people the way we like to be treated, and the whites were treated, everyone like that, the way they would like to be treated. We bought land and all kinds of stuff. And then the civil rights movement came along, and I went up to Indiana when I was in the 11th grade, I believe. And everything was fine in Gary, Indiana. It was fine. Nice schools, blacks and whites living together, businesses everywhere. And then they elected the first black mayor, Richard Hatchett, I think his name was.
Yes. Right.
And they elected him on a Tuesday. That Wednesday morning, all hell broke loose. It was like Richard gave the blacks permission, and I don't think he did. He didn't go out and say it. But all hell broke loose. They started to attack the whites on the bus, at school, in the hallways. It was like, I couldn't believe it, man. They started breaking in white people's homes and businesses. The blacks did. And I had black and white friends, but my white friends, I had a real close white friend. They left. Their parents had to take them. Next thing I knew, he didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. They left so fast because the blacks was so out of control. And I had never seen anything like that before. It was amazing to see that. I left too. I went back to Alabama because of it.
And you have to wonder, the question that has to be asked is whether, the government programs are responsible for a lot of this. The question is, was it by design or by accident? And I'll give you, for instance, the censuses, for whatever reason, they delay them 72 years before they release them. I don't know why. It's like JFK's brain or something. I don't know. And so, fortunately for my research, the 1950 census came out in 2022. So I was able to track what was my block like in 1950. It was just before we moved in. And it's total working class. I mean, they list the occupations. Every blue-collar occupation you could possibly think of, short of like lumberjack, was on that list. Rubber molder, casket maker. I mean, things you never think of.
Yeah.
There were 83 households. Most people were renters. I mean, virtually everyone was a renter. There was a few homeowners, most all renters. And of the 83 households, 81 had a male head of household.
Yeah.
Right? There were 2 widows, 81 male heads of households. And like I say, immigrants from 14 different countries. 79 of the 81 males were working.
Yeah.
And of those 81 households, something like 31 had a female working outside the home as well. So even though we lived very humbly, we had enough. No one was starving to death. Everyone was working. And these were, the kind of jobs that probably exist today, like plumber, HVAC, and, carpenter, and the jobs that will always be a need for, We won't always need, computer programmers. There may not be any computers.
Right.
But there'll always be plumbing, ideally, if we keep, unless we really, degenerate quickly. And it wasn't perfect. Everyone wasn't happy and thrilled, but the kids were being raised respectfully. And one neighbor would watch out, every parent, every mother on that block was your surrogate mother. They were keeping an eye on you. And every kid had a father in the household, right?
You're so right, man.
So the boys did not need to find their male leadership role in gangs. They found it in the home.
Yes.
But that all disintegrated within 20 years.
Sure did. I was reflecting about the so-called civil rights movement last night. I did an interview on a radio show there. And one thing I realized that the so-called civil rights movement did to the blacks, prior to the civil rights movement, there were fathers and mothers, children, grandparents, everybody working and doing their thing, right? And when they grew up, some of them would leave Alabama and go to Indiana and places like that. And they would get jobs, they would get married, get jobs, and the wife would stay home. My mother had 9 children along with me, right? 9 children. And she never had to work while raising all 9 children. And my stepfather worked. And I remember they used to go shopping every 2 weeks, grocery shopping, and just buy baskets and baskets of food that would last a week or two, right? Right. But they all bought homes. They worked. All of my aunts and uncles, when they left Alabama, they went and they got jobs in the steel mills and other places, and they provided for their families. But when the civil rights movement started, Jack, the one thing that they did that is not talked about is that they sold the black family down the drain by agreeing with the Democratic government, Lyndon B. Johnson, to give them welfare, right, and then to put the woman ahead of the man, of the black man, and it's been that way ever since. They pushed the black woman to the forefront and leave the black man in the background. And that started with the civil rights movement. They're the one that helped to destroy the benefits.
You look at the Great Migration, like in the 30s and 40s, from the South to the northern cities. And in my book, I traced the Whitney Houston's family, partly because her mother wrote a biography, but her case was typical and was not unlike your mother.
Right.
They moved up from Georgia in the 30s. This is the Depression. And her father is working in a foundry. It's probably tough, sweaty, hard work.
Right.
But it's her job. her mother had a stroke. She's kind of incapacitated. He takes care of her and the 8 children every Sunday to her church, right? And to take the mom to church, he would have to carry her down 3 flights of stairs to a waiting wheelchair and then carry back up at the end of the day. But those kids were all clean, respectable. They loved their parents.
Yeah.
They all learned how to sing, which would pay off down the road.
Yeah.
And that was a typical story. So that at that time, blacks were essentially just another ethnic group. They were beginning, obviously in the South, there's different things going on, and it wasn't perfectly harmonious.
But it wasn't as bad as they pretend that it was either, Jack.
No, because all the ethnic groups, when they came to America, who migrated, and there was serious migrations. The Irish came, the Germans came, the Irish, the Italians, the Jews, in Newark, where I grew up, and the blacks, they all came as outsiders. They all had to adapt. But there was no one there handing them a check and telling them, hey, listen, if you get that old man out of the house, we're going to give you lower rent. We're going to give you free medical care. We're going to give you food stamps. And we're going to give you welfare.
Yeah.
But the devil's bargain you had to make was, we can't have a man on that lease because everything is based on income, right? So if your income now is above a certain level, all those benefits, which are in total worth more than his job, all those benefits go away. And you saw it household after household. We could see it happening, right on our block.
Absolutely, man. What a mess. And so, Jack, what was your impression of the civil rights movement?
Well, it had on the surface level, some of the things it did were useful and necessary, in terms of eliminating obstacles.
Like what, for example? I don't see any of them eliminated. It got worse.
There was, in fact, a lot of those were in a city like Newark, and in the North, there weren't many obstacles. There was a little BS you had to put up with if you're black, obviously. But the downside of it outweighed the upside. The downside was that understanding, and it was a condescension on the part of white liberals that blacks weren't really capable of taking care of themselves, so we'll take care of them. The paternalistic, belief that they knew better than you did what was good for your families.
Yeah.
And the results were obvious. In 1965, about Patrick Moynihan releases this report, the Moynihan Report, on the state of the black family. And he said, hey, we got a problem brewing here. At that time, the problem was 25% of black kids were growing up in fatherless households, which was about twice what it was a decade earlier. That's only 25%. And he said the net result of this is that, and we've seen this play out over the last 60 years, the net result is that black aspirations will never match their reality, because they're kids who are growing up fatherless are competing with kids who have a father in a home, and and as a collective, they're never going to average out. Their success will never match. Yeah. Right. And it got worse and worse and worse. And then, in 2008, Obama, for a moment, spoke up. I don't know if you remember this story, right? Where he said, he's at a church in Chicago, and he lays it all out. He said, the problem in our community is that too many men are acting like boys. They're abandoning their family, and they're not living up to their responsibilities. And then he listed the outcomes, the relative outcomes. Fatherless boys are like 5 times more likely to drop out of school, 8 times more likely to commit crimes, 10 times more likely to go to prison. Okay, he's identified the problem. Right. Let's fix that problem. Jesse Jackson, 3 weeks later, is picked up on a hot mic at a Fox News studio. He didn't know, right? He knew this would get out at Fox. And there he is. He goes, Barack, you talking down to black people. And then he does this. I want to cut his nuts out, right?
I remember that.
And,
What
and that's the last we heard from Barack Obama on that subject.
You
So-
know, I wonder would the white liberals have been able to use the blacks in the manner that they have been able to do it had not they had the support of Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, and all those people. They had support of the civil rights movement in order to use the black. Could they have done that without the support of the civil rights movement?
No, they needed that. In fact, what happened was when Moynihan, he worked for Lyndon Johnson. And the report it should be read today because it was so prophetic. And inside the Johnson administration, everyone said, boy, this is really good. This is something, because they were having an upcoming conference on the family. And they wanted to introduce the report at this big conference. This is in 1965. And then the civil rights leaders got a hold of the report and they said, this can't see the light of day.
Yeah.
Because the civil rights leaders of that era depended on being problems and the creation of problems. That way they could solve the problems.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And so if everyone was independent and autonomous and they took care of themselves, you don't need civil rights leaders.
That's right. Absolutely.
So the various ethnic groups we didn't have Jesse Jacksons and of Irish Jesse Jackson or Italian Jesse Jacksons because everyone was doing it on their own. There was no one who was like the Italian American spokesman or the Jewish American. You didn't have that.
Yeah.
But
that's how it was, Jack, before the civil rights movement. Black people didn't have some leadership representing them. They were independent thinkers. They did for themselves, decided for themselves. They didn't have that.
Right. Yeah, you read, I just reread recently My Grandfather's Son, which was the Clarence Thomas's book.
Yes.
About his grandfather. And he's living in, his grandfather would have been born about, 1900 maybe, roughly, I'm guessing. Maybe a little earlier. But, he's an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
He's got his own business. He's got a home in the city. He's building a home in the country. He's making Clarence and his brother, he's busting their butts, making them work every day, building the new home out in the country. But he was an independent person. It's because what they did not do, for all the, the laws in the South, they did not deny blacks the right to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's right.
And in fact, oddly, they encouraged it because if you're not getting into a white hotel, you got to start your own hotels, your own businesses.
Yeah.
But in Clarence Thomas's case, his grandfather, he provided fuel, coal, firewood, etc., and had a truck, and he delivered, and made a decent living in a world that we like to think of him as being subjected and put upon. Well, he lived an independent life. He didn't need anyone, right? He didn't need the state.
That's right. I remember, Jack, when the civil rights movement pretended that the busing issue was an issue, that the white people didn't want the black people to sit at the front of the bus or whatever they made up, right? But at the same time, there were black bus businesses, black people who own city buses like that, right? But the black people went out of business because they were so focused on going after the whites that they didn't even encourage the blacks to support the black buses that were there at all.
No, that was what the civil rights era ushered in was an end of, not a total end, but a large part of the end of black entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And then what corporate America did, and they're still doing it even more, is they were buying off the best and the brightest of the black community. So people now who might have started their own business back in the community are now making six figures working for, Exxon or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
And that talent is being siphoned off. It's not being finding a natural home in the community as it once did.
Why do you think you hear about so-called they call white flight a racist situation, but you don't hear about black flight because you're right. There are black people who left the inner cities too because of the black crime and stuff like that. Think about Michael Jackson and his family. As soon as they made money, they didn't stay in Gary, Indiana.
Bye, Gary.
They got out of there real fast. Yeah. Why do you think they hide when they blame white flight? They don't bring up black flight.
Well, that was a big part of the thesis of my book. And not only do they blame white people in general, they blame the white working classes, right? So if you're a comfortable suburban elite white person, you get to pat yourself on the head, feel good about yourself, and then castigate those poor, those less intelligent, the Archie bunkers, living in the cities. They don't know. They're not as enlightened as you are. It serves that purpose for the people who control the media.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's how I turned, because I grew up in a JFK, preteens for JFK, whatever. My whole world was Democrat.
You were a liberal at the time?
I wasn't a liberal. I was whatever Kennedy was. I was 12. I don't know. Whatever Kennedy believed in, I believed in. Okay, so.
I know what you mean.
But I saw, by the time I was 18, 19, I saw that the
Jack, hold that thought. Don't forget your point. Let me take a quick break.
Okay, sure.
888-7753-773. When I come back, we'll tell you how to get the book. Back in a moment. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Okay, folks, 888-7753-773, 888-77 Jesse. Jack CASHILL is here, an amazing writer, a true American, and understand what's going on. You will love this book, folks. I highly recommend it. Really, it's easy to read. It really is. Jack, tell the folks how to get your book and other books and writings you've done as well.
Right. I would say, for the way publishers keep score now is on Amazon. I hate to give Amazon any more business than they already have, but I would recommend you just go to Amazon to buy the book. It's called Untenable, The True Story of White Ethnic Flight from America's Cities. You see that on the picture, on the cover there, Jesse. Can you pick me out? That's my family.
I was wondering if this was your family.
Yeah.
So, I guess this would be you.
No, I'm on the other side. I'm the
younger.
The third boy.
Really?
Yeah, right.
Amazing. So that would be Jack.
Right. Now, this is a working class family circa 1960, right? Newark, New Jersey. And look at us.
I
They're all
know.
dressed up for church, right?
The blacks used to dress like that too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, especially on, in fact, this was an Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
On Easter, I don't know if you remember that. Blacks would, they go crazy on Easter Sunday for dressing up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Amazing. I remember we could go shopping for our Easter clothes.
oh, yeah.
Easter Sunday clothes.
Easter was a big deal in
Sure was.
our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know? But families then together got dressed, went to church. You know,
Yeah.
mothers, fathers, kids. You know.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because of time, I want to, before we went to break, I asked, were you ever a liberal? And you said you were just a Kennedy person.
Right, as an adolescent, but by the end of the 1960s, I saw that I was not one of them. I was not one of the people writing the editorials about white flight. I was not one of the people on TV scolding people like my family for, being who we were. We were not the ones who were sidestepping affirmative action to get our children into elite schools, right?
Yeah.
And I talk about this a lot in the book. There was a whole culture war going on within white culture between white suburban elites and working class ethnic whites. And these guys were giving themselves all the awards, patting themselves on the head, being champions of this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, we were in the streets living out the consequences of their policies and then getting scolded for objecting to those policies.
Yeah. Amazing.
And it goes on till today. I mean, they haven't learned anything.
Yeah. Jack, let me ask, what's wrong with the blacks, adults, who will not kind of pull away from the crowd and start questioning things and thinking for themselves? What is preventing, not all, but most blacks from thinking for themselves and seeing what's going on really happening and overcoming it?
Well, the main problem is the propaganda they get. So you and I know there's alternative media sources. The average person who's not looking for the Jesse Lee Peterson show or Dan Bongino or whomever else is getting this steady stream of propaganda. And each year it moves further and further away from reality, further and further to the left. So for the last, especially since Trump emerged, it's been one series of lies after another. Major lies, big lies, massive lies.
I know, what a mess.
And yet at the same time, we're seeing more and more the smarter people, the more observant people within the culture peeling away, right? Now, we see that in the interviews, we see it in the focus groups. We have yet to really see it on election day when it matters. Partly because their votes are getting swamped and stolen, but partly because they need that, people need that affirmation that you're not alone, that there's other people out there who think as you do. And that's why your show is so useful and why your book, Antidote, I recommend that to everyone. I think it was the clearest look at how that situation develops, where when you project your anger at your parents towards, in your case, and in the case of black culture, against white people.
Yeah.
In white culture, when your parents are gone, you don't have that one projected source. So it goes in different places. And I have a friend who calls it the Democratic Party, the hate daddy party. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So the hate daddy on the white side goes to, you hate the polluters, you hate the corporate giants, you hate all these people, and then especially now you hate, so much of their anger is projected at Donald Trump.
Yeah, the great white hope.
Yeah,
the great white hope. So I want to, man, I can talk to you all day, Jack, but I can't today. But I want to explain propaganda and how that work.
Yeah, it's there was a time, maybe 50 years ago when the media tried to be objective. You know, they had a little bias, we know that. But over time, what happened is that journalists used to come up off the streets, you know, like they were regular guys, right?
Right.
They were working class guys.
Yeah.
They hang out at the bar. They'd talk to the cops, and they reflected a more realistic view of the world. But then they started grooming journalists in schools, in colleges. And as the colleges moved further to the left, the journalists moved further to the left. And they then they replaced that old generation of real guy journalism with fake elite, college bred, snobby little journalists who didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And so they began to basically, and then the story gets really big because what's happening in America is happening around the world. There's an elite class that has their minions in the newsrooms and the boardrooms, and they're being fought in every major Western country by the populists, by the nationalists, by the people who think for themselves, who work their own jobs, who make their own livings, and are resisting that top-down kind of elitism where their goal is to control you. And they control you through the propaganda, through the Washington Post, through the New York Times, through the networks, and also by constricting what you know on social media. So personally, I think the greatest stroke of personal freedom in the last several years was Elon Musk buying Twitter. That was huge.
Yeah, that
The whole
was.
history recognizes him for what he did.
Yeah.
Because it's in many ways liberated the public square and made propaganda much more difficult to impose when you have alternative voices now going through a major channel and blocking you.
But the average person don't think about propaganda. They don't know they're being propagandized.
No.
How would you, if you don't know about it, you're not even familiar with the word for the most part because you're just going along with your life.
Yeah.
How would you recognize that you're being propagandized if you don't know about it?
That's an excellent question. And sometimes it happens for people who have like an epiphany. They have a moment of awareness.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
One guy, for instance, in California, who was a surfer, leftist, artist, typical guy. And then one day he couldn't get his FM radio to work in his car. So he ended up listening to Rush Limbaugh. And then he said, God, this guy isn't crazy as crazy as I thought he was.
Yeah.
And then you hear more and more, or, like Brendan Straka with his walk away movement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people said it about Trump, too.
Yeah.
They didn't know that they were being propagandized. And then they finally listened to Trump. And and all of a sudden they woke up and they realized they've been lied to.
Oh, yeah. I was just watching Ben Shapiro, say like how in 2016 he couldn't stand Trump, blah, 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 blah. And then his eyes began to open up, you know, and he's conservative.
Yeah.
But some of the never Trumpers, the anti-Trumpers were worst of all because that was a battle of pride. They thought they were the conservative movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they saw that, hold it, do you open your eyes and begin to listen, or do you fight and go back into your corner and then close put your hands over your ears?
That happened to me in my 30s because in Alabama, I didn't grow up with that mindset. But once I moved here to LA, I started listening to Jesse Jackson and all them, Louis Farrakhan, and I became propagandized. But I didn't know they were propagandizing me, right? And so finally, one day I realized, I thought, well, if it's hard for black people to make it because of white people, how come Jesse Jackson and his kids and everybody doing so well? They living in nice neighborhoods, going to the best school, they have amazing jobs, and Louis Farrakhan living behind a gated fence or on a golf course somewhere. And once I started questioning it, I woke up and I realized I was being propagandized and didn't know it. And that's when I started to overcome it.
What happens is the whole concept of the red pill. once you take that pill,
Yeah.
and that happened a lot during COVID, because a lot of people, especially in a state like California, where you have these crazy rules that just changed every day.
Yeah.
And people who had been, listening to the government all along, believing their propaganda, all of a sudden they had that one awakening. That happened in fact, that happened to Elon Musk. It happened over COVID.
Right.
He said, they're trying to take my freedom away.
Yeah.
And then once he begins to expand the media he's absorbing, he begins to say, hold, it's not just COVID, right? It's climate change. It's this, it's that, it's this, you know? And so then you begin to see the world from the other side. Why are half of Americans resisting this? So during all the COVID BS, half of us lived our lives like regular human beings.
Yeah.
And the other half were sitting in their apartments with masks on,
What a mess. Jack, why
and some of those people opened their eyes and said, my God, we've been deceived. We've been misled. We've trusted sources that were lying to us.
Yeah.
And now they have to face the consequences.
Jack, why are white, not all, but most white people so afraid to speak up when it comes to this fake idea of racism, and they're being blamed for the destruction of the blacks? Why are they afraid to say no? All they have to say is, no, I'm not responsible for your life.
Well, yeah, that's an excellent question, because you're absolutely right. They are terrified.
Yeah.
And part of the reason now has to do with the corporate environment. If you work for a company, or even if you're in the military or education, healthcare, if you even object to the whole DEI agenda, you will get downgraded on your next promotion. That's a condition now. I had a friend who left Bank of America because they had a gay scale every day, and he had to check off whether he was going to be a friend of gay or whatever, gay alliance. And he said, no, I'm out of here. I'm not going to work for this company.
Yeah.
But not many people have that capability. Even before that, though, Jesse, I've always felt comfortable because I grew up in an integrated world. And, I wrote a book on boxing about 20 years ago. It was on a show with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. And there was some other people. And the book centered on Muhammad Ali, who I thought betrayed his people and all of us.
Yeah.
But, and I said, the guy said to me, well, you've ever been in a civil rights march? He said to me, right? I was an adolescent, what do I know? I said, yeah, I was in a civil rights march. I said, every day I walked to the playground and back without getting my ass kicked. That was a civil rights march. That was my civil rights march. I said, I had the guilt beaten out of me. I don't have any guilt about this.
Yeah.
I lived in a world where people were equal. We're all on the same footing, right?
That's right,
So
man.
I've always felt free to speak. But when I do, I can see the white people kind of shrinking back. Don't, even if you're respectful and you're honest and you're objective, that's the one accurate thing Eric Holder said about that when it comes to race, we're a nation of cowards.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
But then he and Obama, for their 8 years, if you dared speak up, they would intimidate you, harass you, force you out of your job even. So they weren't adding to the openness of the conversation.
Do you think if white people loved what was right more than anything else, the material things or a job or reputation, so-called reputation, do you believe if they love what was right more than anything else that they will have the fear of speaking up or losing anything?
That's a good question. I think you're right. If I always thought that when you go to a job to work any given morning, I've been working for myself for a while now, so it's not an issue. But when I used to work I worked in advertising for many years, and I went to work every morning with this thought in mind: today could be the last day of my career here.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things I'm not gonna take.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And to do that, though, it helps to be prepared, both, emotionally and financially. So you don't live over your head. You don't live day to day. You always have a little, as the French said, you should always live on last year's income. So you have the year of income that allows you to exercise your conscience. Another thing that keeps people in check, white and black, is the word pension. So many people are so fearful of losing their pensions
Yeah,
that they will do anything they have to do.
that's amazing. Jack,
Yeah.
as a result of white people not speaking up, as you know, according to Bloomberg.com, corporate America promised to hire a lot more people of color. It actually did. The year after Black Lives Matter protests, the S&P 100 added more than 300,000 jobs. 94% went to people of color. 94% of the new job went to people of color, putting white people out of work.
And you know who those jobs are going to?
Who's that?
They're going to people from India, from people from Pakistan, for people from Southeast Asia, from China.
Yeah.
People of color, but black people, I don't think are getting this. But with this new infusion of people, their percentage of the population is shrinking, and their power is shrinking with it.
Yeah.
So in a state like California, there's 4 Hispanics for every black. They're sacrificing their own power to sign on to this, and they sign on thinking they're getting the goodies, but that ain't gonna happen.
It's so true. Jack, before this time ran out, you mentioned Big Mama Michelle Obama in your book.
Yeah.
And I want to play this clip for you real fast and get a response from Time Magazine. Michelle Obama opened up about the pain of witnessing white flight as a child. Watch this from, I don't know, can Jack see it? At least you can hear it if you can't see it, from Times.
But unbeknownst to us, we grew up in the period, as I write, called white flight. Yeah. That is, families like ours, upstanding families like ours, who were doing everything we were supposed to do and better. As we moved in, white folks moved out because they were afraid of what our families represented. And I always stop there when I talk about this out in the world because, I want to remind white folks that y'all were running from us. Because this family, yeah. This family with all the values that you read about, yeah, you were running from us, and you're still running because we're no different than the immigrant families that are moving in, the families in Pilsen, the families that are coming from other places to try to do better. Yeah.
What do you say to that, Jack?
Well, I read Joel Gilbert's book, our friend on Michelle. Yeah. I know that's a total lie from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Her family was a classic family of black flight. They were living in a place called Parkway Gardens in Chicago. And when the project kids started going to their little public school, they fled. They fled down the South Shore. And but South Shore and part of Chicago, by the time they got there, actually they sent the kids ahead to school for a couple of years. It had been a Jewish neighborhood, and which was illegal, and it was a misdemeanor to send your kids out of district. And then, so they get there, and Michelle, when she gets there, she realizes the families weren't like hers. She gets punched in the face on the first day of class. The girls are harassing her. They're calling her Oreos. So there's nearly all black high school just down the street. And so with Michelle's mother, she had good parents. Marion does. She takes another job so she could send Craig, the brother, to a Catholic school, a white Catholic school. They don't go to black schools. And then Michelle, they send her an hour or so downtown to a magnet school. She's been running from black people all her life. She's running from black people because she doesn't really see herself as one of them, except when she's running for office, or her husband is.
So if that's true, and I believe it, she's sitting there. Is that what you call propaganda? She's sitting there lying to the audience.
Total propaganda. Because in my neighborhood as a kid, we had black families like hers.
Yeah.
Living next door to us.
Yeah.
Good black families with 2 parents, 2 nice kids. And then they weren't the problem. The problem were the people that she ran from, the project kids. In the black neighborhood, they can't call them blacks, they call them the element,
Yeah.
And when the element moves into your neighborhood, you move out. Doesn't matter what color they are.
Jack, tell the folks how to get your book. We have about 2 minutes.
Okay, Untenable, the true story of white ethnic flight from America's cities. In fact, I talk about Michelle in there too.
Yeah.
I would say just go to Amazon.com, put in CASHILL, CASHILL. It'll list all my books. Also, I would recommend you go to my website, CASHILL.com, CASHILL.com. I'm on Twitter at Jack Cashill, Facebook Jack Cashill. I don't use a alias. Yeah, just go by my real name and look for the best.
Jack,
I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
I would also absolutely recommend they read your book, Antidote. I think it's one of the most important books written in a long time.
Thank you, man. The antidote is at rebuildingdemand.com or call 800-411-BOND. Jack, we're going to talk again soon, man. It's good seeing you.
Anytime.
All right, take
Good
care.
to see you.
All right.
So where's Sean from, by the way?
I'm sorry?
Where's Sean from? Where's he
Where
from?
you from, Sean? Edgewater, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a little different from Newark, but that's close.
All right.
Hey, we'll see you guys. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
With the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought, knowing that you're not your thoughts, you don't create them, they're not from God, that they're from the deceiver, the great deceiver, Satan. If you can doubt every thought, you can be free just like that. At an instant. Bring every thought into captivity. It's so amazing.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 2 already of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, Country and Western Tuesday, February 6th, AD 2024. The lines are full, guys. JLP will be right back to your calls. Great interview with Jack Cashill, author of Untenable, CASHILL.com. 2 L's, CHASHILL. JLPtalk.com for all things JLP radio show. That's JesseLeePeterson.com/show. You can find how to podcast the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. And you can find the network hosts, including Hake, American Anchor Baby, and Joel Friday TV, who's live right after Hake at 11 a.m. Pacific, before Anchor Baby at noon Pacific time. Gaza drama, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, joke of a Secretary of State, according to Commie Nonsense Network, is back in the Middle East this week as global officials work to ensure the Israel-Hamas war drama does not escalate into a wider conflict. Seems like that's already happened, but hopefully they'll clamp it down, these incompetent people, corrupt people. On Monday, Blinken met with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to discuss regional coordination on ending the war in Gaza as plans for the war-torn strip once the fighting ends. On the ground, Israel's defense minister says Hamas's leadership is on the run, but a spokesman for the militant group, they call it a spokesperson. Do you really think it might be a woman for Hamas? Give me a break. For the militant group, said their fighters are still operating in all areas of the enclave. The latest violence has caused more than 1,200 deaths in Israel, which you already heard about. That's back in October. And nearly 27,500 dead in Gaza as of Monday, per authorities on both sides. Space tourism. Virgin Galactic grounded after a small part detached from a vehicle on its latest space tourism flight. Can you believe it? The company said the loss of the part, called an alignment pin, did not impact the safety of its 6th commercial mission that launched in late January. Virgin Galactic said they will work alongside the FAA, which licenses commercial rocket launches, on a review of the issue. The FAA stated they will not carry out a mishap investigation. That they will carry out a mishap investigation. They must approve Virgin Galactic's final report, including the corrective actions, before they can return to flight. Virgin Galactic said they'll remedy the issue as they eye another launch in the second quarter of 2024. Rest in peace, Toby Keith. Country singer Toby Keith died Monday, per CNN, after a battle with stomach cancer. He was 62 years old, gone too soon, the tender age. He fought his fight with grace and courage, stated his website, Toby Keith's website. He's known for his hits including Red Solo Cup, I Want to Talk About Me, and his 2002 song, Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, The Angry American, in parentheses, released in the aftermath of the 9/11 terror attacks, the 2001 9/11, that made him a household name. And mudslides in Los Angeles. 120 mudslides been reported to authorities in Los Angeles as a powerful storm continues to batter Southern California. Forecasts show the worst of the downpours may be over, but the ongoing rain today means more floods and mudslides possible, making matters worse. The vast majority of California flood victims' losses won't be covered by insurance, say analysts. It pays to be rich. Zelensky and Ukraine propaganda. A new beginning is necessary, says Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, not a Christian, sharing in an interview that he is considering replacing many of Ukraine's leaders to reset the country's path. Wow, maybe he should replace himself. Nearly 2 years since Russia invaded, Zelensky's not specified who will be replaced, but his comments come amid speculation over the future of Ukraine's army chief, Valery Zaluzhnyi. Police violence on blacks. I'll tell you about this on the Hake report. It's mostly justified, I would guess. But anyway, I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 3.
Somewhere in the world today, men have got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show today. What the? I can't believe it's the third hour already. Amazing. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. My biblical question for this week. I was going to ask Jack this question, but CASHILL, but we ran out of time. Why does God allow the devil to attack you? Why does God allow the devil to attack you? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're busy doing whatever it is you're doing, chasing the illegal aliens, about to get ran over by them, afraid to leave your house because you're afraid they're going to break in, or whatever. You could be listening to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. That's 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on social media. JLP Talk on X and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, and all that. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or Bond JLP on Cash App, Bond JLP on Cash App, or Rebuilding the Man. Rebuilding the Man. It's Tuesday, and every Tuesday is Country and Western Tuesday. Bring back, oh, bring back my country to me. Bring back my country to me. Who let the dogs out? Amazing. Amazing. Who let the dogs out? I haven't touched on any news item today. I guess that's the way it is for today. Y'all come now, here. I'll give a dart if he does. Come home, Paul. I won't accept him. Let me go to Josh out of Georgia. Georgia on my mind. Josh, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, Jesse?
You back home, Josh?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, I'm back. Made it back.
Amazing meeting, seeing you out here this weekend, man.
Yeah, everything worked out perfect.
I can put the voice with the look with the voice.
Now.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So Josh was out here visiting over this past weekend, folks. He was at the Men's Forum. He was at Sunday Fellowship yesterday, on Sunday, day before yesterday. And so we got a chance to fellowship in L.A.
Yes,
amazing.
Sir. It was, man. It really was. And everything just worked out. It's good to meet y'all, you know. It's like being in a TV show, kind of.
Amazing. Nice.
But, okay, right, I was calling for the biblical question, man.
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
It seems like it's the only way for me to get rid of this demon in me is to just get tortured and crucified. And that's how the demon leaves my body. So that's how I would truly stop identifying with my body, stop believing thoughts, is that I got to go through that. And that's why God lets it happen, and that's the way out.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I appreciate that, Josh. I have to put my 2 cents in on Sunday.
All right. And, I saw that movie too, man. That was perfect.
Which movie?
The one where the guy went going to the electric chair.
Oh, yeah. What's that movie called? What?
Nefarious.
It was.
Yeah.
And so, what did you get from it?
You know, it's the same as the biblical question. Like I was scared. I was scared to go to sleep last night after watching that, man. 'Cause, like that's to realize that I'm not in control of myself. There's something in me controlling me like that, and that it can do that to me. And that's probably what's going to end up happening for me to have to die from this thing. I'm going to have to go to an electric chair just like that guy did.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't take all that from me. It's amazing that human beings are so unconscious that they think that they're in control of their own lives. Even with the bad things they do and the so-called good thing, they think they're in control when there's not one human being on this side of heaven that's in control of their own lives. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I think I just know that intellectually. I totally believe it, but I still try to control things. So I truly don't know it. You know, even though I believe you, I know it, I can repeat it. I guess I gotta, once you die from it, then you really, really, if you feel that pain, That's how you really know, I think.
Well, the one thing I know for sure, and without a doubt, we have never made a decision. We don't know what we want of ourselves. We can do nothing. And we're not in control of anything at all. Can't be, ain't gonna be, even if you wanted to be, you cannot be. But I appreciate you responding to the biblical question, Josh, and I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday. I'm glad you saw the movie, though.
Yeah, it's free on Tubi. Anybody can watch it for free.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's like exactly what you talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's what's mind-blowing. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Okay. No problem. Thank you, man.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Let me go to Minnesota and talk to. There's one line open, by the way. Jaime. Welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, happy Tuesday.
Thank you, buddy. Happy Tuesday to you.
Hey, I just want to call it. You know, I saw that Uncle Tom
Did you
movie.
see Uncle Tom 1 or 2?
Both.
Oh, nice. And
well, it made me think about that propaganda you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, back before maybe a couple years ago, I started reading all that other propaganda about like the CRT and the racism and white privilege and things like that. I actually started to believe it. I listened to it so much.
And how do you prevent from being propagandized if you don't know about propagandists?
Well, now I've forgiven my mother. I've forgiven my father. I don't have anger.
Right on.
And I see
Yeah.
And I see that because of that anger, they put a target in front of me, and I'll go for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, and I'll go. I would have gone for it, but now I see it, good and evil. What is it? And that's it.
That's a good point, man. Once you overcome anger, then the propagandist thing cannot affect you because you're not unconscious anymore. But when you're angry, you're unconscious, and you can't see what's really happening.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, I saw that Michelle 24 movie. Your guest had made.
Right.
Well, that was a great movie too.
Amazing. I highly recommend Uncle Tom 1 and 2, and I forgot their website. I wish I had it here, but I highly recommend. It's on the YouTube channel there, Uncle Tom movies things. But I highly recommend it, man. I'm glad you saw it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the biblical question, could I answer that?
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
Right. I don't believe God does allow the devil to attack me. I think what happened was I believed the devil, and I got what the consequences were for that. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
I don't think that God allows the devil to attack me. I disbelieved God, and I got angry, and anger caused all the things that happened to me. And the way that I think that's the reason why I believe that is because I let go of the anger, and there's no attacks. Nothing's attacking me, you know?
Interesting, man. I appreciate that, and I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday. Thank you.
All right, and I don't believe in racism. It's either good or evil.
That's right. No such thing.
They tried to get me. They tried to get me believing that. I went to public schools, you know.
Yeah.
And they taught me Martin Luther King, and they taught me Civil War, being about slavery and things like this. It wasn't until now that I realized it wasn't about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you, buddy. I got to run. I appreciate you.
You have a good day.
You
Bye.
too. UncleTom.com. Check it out. UncleTom.com. All right. Let me go. There's one line open now. Let me go to a first-time call out of New Jersey. John. John, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Jesse, good morning, buddy. How are you, sir?
All this well, John. Thanks for calling.
Good. I'm a new follower. I saw your talk with Pastor Jennings, and so I started following you after I saw that a few weeks ago.
I appreciate that, man. You can see that interview on the FallenState.tv, folks. The FallenState.tv. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good interview. It was a good interview.
Thank you, John.
So to answer your question,
why does God allow the devil to attack you?
He's testing your faith. God's testing our faith. He wants us to when bad things happen to us, he wants us to have faith that trust in him and have faith that he is going to see us through whatever. And once you submit and have faith in the Lord, nothing will, the devil won't be able to touch you. It's kind of like the story of Job when Job had everything, and the devil, went to tempt him, and God let him tempt him, and no matter what was taken away from Job, he never lost faith in God. And then, he eventually got, everything back. Obviously, you can't replace your family, but, he got everything back, but he never lost faith.
Did he get his family back as well? Like a new family or something, or have more kids?
I believe so. I mean, don't quote me because I don't know the full chapter. I know the story, and I know that basically he never lost his faith in God, and his riches and everything he lost was returned.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he got his family back as well.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Right. Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you, man. John, and I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday.
All right, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. And I'm sure you're going to hear from me again there, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Have a good day.
You
God
too,
bless.
buddy. You too now. 888-7753-773. Let me go to Vicky out of Texas. Vicky, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, bro, from another mother.
Hey, Vicky, how are you?
I'm doing well, doing really well.
Yeah.
I wanted to answer the biblical question as well, and I'm glad that so many are.
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
Well, growing up in a church, Christian church, I've always been told that we're supposed to go through all these hard seasons, right? And that it's just normal and God will allow it. But being born again, and knowing yourself and keeping an eye on yourself, it's not God. It's what father wants to see his kids suffer, or put him, he doesn't. It's you. You have to keep an eye on you all the time. I mean, when Jesus said, like you say, and Jesus did say, pray without ceasing. I mean, that's how you overcome the world, and that's how you get through the world.
Are you saying that God? I'm sorry, Vicky. Why does God allow the devil to attack you? You say it's what now?
He doesn't allow you. I mean, it's not God that allows it. That's what I think. I think if you keep taking your eyes off of God, because he that's in you is greater than he in the world. And so when you realize that God has always been with you, that God's brought you through so much, why would you think that God wants you to suffer? He doesn't.
So you don't believe that God is allowing the devil to attack you? And does the devil attack you?
Not anymore.
He doesn't attack you at all?
Oh, he tries, but I catch him. I see it.
And why does God allow that to happen?
Why does he allow
Now that when you say he still does it, but you catch it, why does God allow him to attack you, period?
Just to realize that he's there, like if I take my eye off of him, if I get distracted and go into my imagination real quick, which happens every now and then, I know that he's going to take everything away from me where that doesn't happen. But at this point, if my feelings tell me that I'm under attack, but I know that it's my thoughts, it's my feelings, and it's all fake because all I have to do is just relax and just keep my mind with my body, chill out, and God just removes it. I don't have to strain or do anything about it. I just have to keep my eyes on Him, on myself, and He does it. There's nothing that I can do. I can't do anything in this spiritual battle. Like, I can't do anything on the outside either.
Well, I appreciate that, Vicky. I will put my very interesting response. I so badly want to respond to what you're saying, but I got to wait until Sunday. Isn't that amazing?
I can't wait, as usual.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your input on that, all right?
Stay dry over there and warm. Love you, bro.
You too. It's raining. Cats and dogs and rats and everything.
Send it this way to Texas. We need some more rain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll send it over there.
Bring it here.
All right. Thank you, Vicky. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse. Have a wonderful day, bro. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
Shout out to Bond.
Right on. Amazing. Super chat. Super. Line over there. One line just now.
Soul Conscious bought 5 coffees with more spoilers. Jesse, I have watched Nefarious. Did you notice the psychiatrist and the demon were both intellectuals? They were one. Just like how these liberal states have caused nothing but hell on the people, but think they are better than the criminals.
Amazing. Thank you. I want to just finish that story about the meal. Then I started. We ran out of time. They were asking him what did he want for his last meal before he went to before he went to the lecture chair.
Right.
And because all people have 80 or so demons identities, he was going in and out of those different identities, right? And so when the security guard came in and said, "Okay, what do you want for your last meal?" And he was like, I want a cheeseburger. And I want it to be cooked well done. I want it to be really good. Cheeseburger.
It's disturbing.
And then I want a chocolate milkshake.
He's hugging himself. For those listening to the audio podcast and acting pathetic. The host is impersonating a pathetic demon-possessed person.
Right. And then he was like, I want a chocolate milkshake, and I want it to be real chocolate.
And Hassan is cracking up, but I'm disturbed. I'm too disturbed to laugh.
This is an Oscar award-winning performance.
And he was like, I want it to be thick chocolate. And the security guy, he was like, oh, okay. So he would write it down, and then all of a sudden, when he took the menu down, the guy changed. I don't want nothing at all. And the security guy like, what? I don't want anything. He like, but you about to be electrocuted. You don't want something in your body? No, I don't want anything. And they went to a different scene.
I don't know why that's disturbing, but it is.
Did you see it yet, Hassan?
I have not, but I feel like I just did.
Hey.
I'm too scared to watch it now.
Oh, yeah.
You scared me.
You heard Josh that he was scared to go to sleep.
Oh, dang. I didn't catch that.
Uh-huh. But anyway, thank you.
That's
okay.
Is it a Christian movie?
What?
Is it a Christian movie?
What?
Is that movie a Christian movie?
What's a Christian music?
What's a Christian movie?
Uh-huh.
A movie made by Christians with a Christian message.
I don't know. Glenn Beck was in it.
Oh, yeah? He was like acting in it?
I think that was Glenn Beck. He played the psychiatrist at the end when he was counseling with the psychologist that
Point the mic
the psychologist that went and interviewed the devil.
Whoa.
I think that was Glenn. Was that Glenn Bashar? Yeah, that was Glenn Beck.
I found out a little bit about the movie, the background.
We've been talking about it all week.
No, I'm talking about the background, not the story itself.
Oh, what'd you find out?
That it's based on a book called A Nefarious Plot by a guy from the Blaze.
Oh.
A host from the Blaze.
Oh,
like
okay.
a Christian guy.
That's why Glenn Beck was in it then.
Yeah, I think he was executive producer. The guy who I'm talking about was executive producer of the film.
Glenn Beck played the counselor at the end there.
Really?
Yeah. To the psychologist that was traumatized by the devil.
Dang. Cool.
Amazing. Thank you.
Mike Young bought a coffee. Hey, Jesse.
That's what y'all get for not going right away and seeing it.
Right.
We just showing you the whole movie now.
Yeah, people are. Somebody was surprised that Hake and somebody else let you give all these spoilers. Maybe because Hake is suffering along with you, the rest of you guys. So I know I'm not suffering alone because the chat may not have had a chance.
I won't give any more spoilers.
Well, now we just got that Dan Day-Lewis level performance. Incredible.
Amazing.
We don't need anything else.
Anyway, Mike Young bought a coffee. Hey, Jesse, I don't know if you're familiar with the country singer Toby Keith, but may his soul rest in peace after he has passed away at the age of 62 after his battle with cancer.
Who is that from?
Mike Young.
That's the guy we were talking about this morning, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we mentioned that this morning, Mike. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
He continues, to be honest, I wasn't a fan of his music, but I do recognize that he was a true patriot of this country, and I thank him for that. May his soul rest in peace. Sign emoji. Peace sign with the two hippie fingers up.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Toby Keith on Country and Western Tuesday said Slots and Slob 727 on Rumble. A Rumble rant. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
R.I.P. stands for rest in peace.
Oh, okay.
Stan69 donated a diamond. How can JLP ward off the illegals without his guns? Little JLP cowboy man. I
go hunting for rabbits and squirrels and deers. Oh, my deer. I don't go after the illegal aliens.
Right. That's probably smart. Evgeny Crosby with a diamond. We need Margaret, the caller from the end of the last hour.
Yeah.
The first hour, I mean.
Right.
To have her own show. La, la, la.
Margaret was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, she's the only other one I've ever heard talk about the illegal alien disease.
I know.
Besides you.
And she makes a good point, because you don't hear anyone else really talking about the diseases that these people are bringing in. They're just talking about the crime.
I know.
But the disease is a weapon as well.
Yep.
Lay your weapons down.
Stan69 with a diamond. What kind of cowboy doesn't have a rope and a gun? What the?
I ain't grow up with no rope and gun.
Okay.
I had a rifle, but...
And it's a flood warning right now. Give him a break.
I can't be all in the water with the rope and the gun, and the cows are in the pasture.
Right.
Amazing. Thank you.
Chad the Alpha Male, first time chat on twitch.tv/JLP Talk. Howdy, friends.
Amazing.
Nice.
Howdy.
Over on, also on Twitch, Falcon Ing, in a response to the biblical question.
Okay.
Why does God allow
the devil to attack you?
If God didn't let Satan attack, then Satan can accuse us of not being worthy. The Creator trusts his creation is so great that he says, go on ahead, attack. My children will not fail. Heart emoji.
Amazing. I'll put my 2 sisters on Sunday. That's interesting. I want to ask my friend keep texting me.
Okay.
I want to ask him to respond to that question. He said to me, I was surprised to find out that Los Angeles had a black woman for mayor. I just found out this year. Where's he been? Where you been? But I want to know from my friend, why does God, and my friend is a Christian too, why does God allow the devil to attack you? All right, I want to know that. Text me and let me know. Also, about the movie, is it a Christian movie? I guess it would be.
Okay.
Consider
Nice.
that.
Right on.
I'm sure the atheists would not have made a movie like that.
True.
It was too factual.
Okay.
Thank you.
Proverbs 30, verse 12. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. And that's from Falcon Ing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How are you supposed to tell people about a movie without telling them about it? You know, like what's in it?
I don't know.
But you said that I'm telling too much of the plot.
You're telling like all kinds of specifics, how it ends and everything.
It ends with him in the lecture chair.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks again. I thought you said you were going to stop doing the spoilers.
I thought I said that already.
You did, but you don't have to repeat it. Just because you said something before, other people may have missed it.
Oh.
And so now you're spoiling even further.
But I didn't tell everything.
Right.
Because I didn't mention that the psychiatrist tried to kill himself.
You don't.
After the guy was electrocuted.
You're so clever.
What do you mean?
You play dumb, but you're.
I'm black and slow. What do you mean?
Because you just gave away another spoiler.
Did I?
By saying, I didn't tell them this and that and this and that.
What did I say?
Is this like a Laurel and Hardy bit?
What did I say? What did I say, Hassan?
1, 2.
I don't know.
See?
5 more super chats to go.
All right, we'll finish that and your phone calls when I come back. Back in a moment.
Treasure chest is opening on D-Line.
Oh, yeah, the treasure chest is now open on D-Line.
Lines are full.
Back in a moment. Check out my book, For Race to Responsibility. I show you how I was able to overcome anger. The spirit of anger was taken away from me. I had it. And as a result of having anger, I was insecure. I had doubt, worry, fear. I was in a fallen state and didn't know it. And it wasn't until I went and forgave my mother, who tried to turn me away from my father. I forgave my father for not being there and returned back to him. My spirit connected with his spirit, and through him, I was able to return to God. And I have perfect peace. Perfect love casts out anger. And when anger is gone, fear and doubt, worry, insecurity, suicidal thoughts, all of that is gone, and you are free. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or if you want an autographed copy, you can go to my website at rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. Uniting the races. Oh, no. I'm at the bottom of the hour, not the top. Amazing. Listen, the Hake Report is coming up at the top of the hour. The HakeReport.com at the top of the hour from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then after the Hake Report, Joel Friday TV, he black at 11 a.m. And he's on fire today. We had to hold him down out there. He can't wait to get into the studio today. Isn't that amazing? And then at 12, the American anchor baby. Energy given to him by God. Flying high in airplanes, not on fentanyl, not pot. At 12 noon, the American anchor baby. And for personal shout-outs, whatever your shout-out desires are, I do them myself. Go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com. Birthday shout-outs, wedding, anniversaries, encouragement, congratulations, no matter what it is.
Cameo.
What?
Cameo.
I mean, Cameo. Sorry about that. Cameo. CAMEO.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. CAMEO.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. And Jack mentioned my book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. Also, I recommend The 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide, a little pocket guide. All my books are amazing, to be real honest with you. From Rage to Responsibility, my first book. From Rage to Responsibility. I can't believe I used to be that young. I had hair. Amazing. And then Scam, How the Black Leadership Exploits Black Americans. And then The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. I recommend them all. And yes, I will sign them if you get them at rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. All right, I'll be able to sign them and send them out to you. Hey, let's just finish up with the super chat we started.
Okay.
Super chat.
Super chats.
Sho Sugino says with 3 coffees, Jesse, we already have 3-year-old babies who sleep, and while sleeping in one hand, they're holding an imaginary iPad in the other hand. They're swiping, SMH. Shaking his head.
Repeat that.
We have 3-year-old babies sleep with an iPad, and they're swiping in their sleep.
What a mess. Amazing. I just got a text from a buddy of mine. They said that New York Times. Mayor Eric Adams said, "Have you ever seen so much chocolate?" What was that? You hear about that?
Mm-mm.
Let me see what it says here. Oh, I guess he got a lot of black mayors now, and they call each other chocolate.
Oh.
I guess he must have heard about that inmate who wanted a chocolate shake.
Right. Jamal bought 3 coffees.
And I did not mention that the psychiatrist tried to kill himself, right, in the movie?
Right.
Right at the end of the execution, he was looking at the devil dying.
You've just mentioned it twice now in the last 10 minutes.
Did I really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You mentioned it just now.
Come on, man. Amazing.
Jamal,
Thank you.
but it's cute. 3 coffees from Jamal. Jesse, Nefarious had me at the edge of my seat. It's interesting how the devil knows the truth but don't understand it. I see the importance of understanding over knowledge.
What the?
Amazing. Are you going to watch a Hake?
I feel like I just did. No, I think I will. Yes.
Made.
No one can predict the future.
There is no future.
If it be the Lord's will, I shall.
Right, because there is no future.
Right.
No past. Can you imagine? Just think about this, folks. You have no past and you have no future. It does not exist. It's an illusion in the mind. Think about that. Smoke on that one. It's an illusion. There is no past and no future, but yet the devil reminds you of a past and you believe it and you trip out on it. Go figure. Amazing. Thank you.
Someone bought a coffee. Not my answer, but the answer to the biblical question.
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
In the song You All Loved Him Once by Connor or Beast, you get a chance. Please give a listen. I'm sure you will appreciate it.
What does that have to do with?
I don't know.
Question?
He doesn't want to spoil it.
What?
Maybe he doesn't want to spoil the song by giving it away.
But he just promoted a song. He didn't give us the biblical.
Oh. Maybe he tricked me.
He tricked you.
Riley JM bought a coffee.
What a beta.
Alpha.
Thank you.
Howdy doody, JLP. Great show. Thank you, Riley JM.
Thank you.
Jamal bought a coffee. Biblical question.
Is this another trick?
Nope.
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
The same reason why he allowed Satan to attempt Adam and Eve. The same reason he allows wars and other types of atrocities to happen in the world. Whatever the reason is, I'm still smoking on it.
Oh, so they don't know what it is?
Right.
Oh, okay.
But he imagines it's the same reason. He surmises.
What the? Thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Shout out to the top contributors, Stan69, Evgeny Crosby, Kid Combo 1.0, Wolf336, and all the rest. Thank you for the lemons, ice cream, and diamonds. Appreciate that over on D Live.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you all. Is that it?
No, there's actually a bunch more that just have come in.
Okay. Get them together. Let me get some calls.
Okay.
And I'll come back to it.
Sounds
Let
good.
me go to John out of Georgia. He's been waiting a while. John, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
All is well, John.
All right. Yeah. That movie Nefarious. I used not look at movies like that until you mentioned that movie, and I see what you was talking about. We think we know, but the devil, like you said, knows everything, Bible inside and out.
Yeah.
And unless we get back to the Father, we're going to continue to follow His path. But
absolutely,
man.
Absolutely.
My wife and I were looking at it, yes, sir, and we were looking at it, and at the end, she asked me a question because she really don't like you, as she say, about prayer, the silent prayer.
Yeah.
We looked at like a 5-minute YouTube video you had done on the silent prayer, and she asked the question, what is prayer? So I really didn't have an answer for. Do you have an answer for me? What is prayer?
A prayer is a communication with your Father, God.
Okay, that's what she was saying. So she wondered, why do I have to do it silently?
Because we don't know what we want. The Father does, and we don't know what to ask for. We don't know what we want, but He knows it all, and He'll provide if we just be still and communicate with Him. Let go.
Amen. Okay. And she also, now, after a certain age, that's when we should learn how to get to the place where we got to return to the Father, right?
Right. We
After
become an
18
adult.
or so?
Yeah. About,
Okay.
I really recommend 18, 19, 20 when you really start looking for yourself.
Okay. So how do you deal with someone who's saying, well, I know how good, I know God. I know God is, I know He's my protector. I know He's my healer. I know He's this and I know He's that, but you still operate in anger.
Because
how you deal with someone like that?
Well, number one, a person that says that is lying, and they are they know about God intellectually, but they don't know Him at all. They're just repeating what they heard intellectually. And you try to tell them that, but if they don't want to accept it, you leave them alone. Even if it is your wife, let her suffer in her hell, and you just work on you. And whenever that anger comes out, you point it out to her. You know what? You, look at you. You're acting evil now. You got anger. You got to drop the anger. But let her suffer in her hell until she's ready to really know God instead of knowing about Him.
Okay. Now, the biblical question.
And don't ever argue with her, though. Never argue with anyone, but especially your wife, because when you argue with her, you're giving her life. She's taking over your life away from you, and that's the hell in her.
And because of the silent prayer, Jesse, I used to get to that point when we have a discussion, we always argue, and I used to get that. I felt that I would get shaken and all that.
Yeah.
But since I've been doing the silent prayer for the last month or so, morning and night, now we can talk and it don't happen.
Right on. Stay
And I can
with
just
it.
sit there and look at her and let her talk, because a lot of talk is about her. Then it's all about her.
Yep. That's how the ego trip is. It's all about self. She doesn't care about you, your children, or anything but herself. And that's why we must die from the ego so we can overcome this false self.
Amen. The biblical question.
Why does
I like
God
that.
allow the devil to attack you?
I believe the same reason he allowed him to attack Job. And even though Job, throughout the process before he got back to the Father, he was going in and out of his unconsciousness, but then he finally got back to the conscious and realized, okay, God is still who he is. He's still my Father. So I believe God will allow the devil to attack us because he wants to show us that we need to get back to him eventually.
Very interesting. I want so badly to respond. The Job story is an amazing story, man. It is. It is really, really amazing story. And it is. I can't say any more, though. I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday.
One more question.
Yes.
Do you love black people?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just want the world to hear it, Justin.
That's
All
right. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Amazing, John. Emmanuel from Canada. There's a line open, 888-7753-773. Emmanuel, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, Emmanuel.
How's it going?
All is well, sir.
Good. I got a truckload of questions for you. You know, when I listen to the show, part of the reason I listen to it is it's like stimulates, it gets me to reflect and think about things. So I'll always be writing down questions. I got like a whole page of questions for you.
Amazing.
Anyways, the one I was focusing on today was I was wondering if you were willing to talk more about your relationship with your mother and the whole situation around that, you know, but that's the end of the show. So maybe I'll call you back about that if you're into it. But
yeah, call me back about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, so the other thing was, before I forget, that I saw the clip of that video of you in the music video with all those other guys. I don't know who they were, but the wall going up.
Oh, the wall going up.
Where do I find that video, man? I was looking for it.
I'm going to show you right now. The wall going up. Watch this.
Yeah, what is that called?
Take this home. The wall going up. The wall going up. It's long overdue. The wall going up. 30-foot wall. The wall going up. The wall going up. At the border, I'm stunned. It's the red pill lion. The red pill lion. Yeah, LIONS.
Nice, and that's on YouTube?
Yes.
Cool. You know, I was talking to a brother about baptism, and I talked to you about it before, but I noticed there's some Christians out there that are really pushing baptism.
Right.
And because in the Bible, apparently Peter says something about be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, and he was trying to tell me that God won't forgive you unless you're baptized. And I don't know if I believe in that.
Did you give him the finger when he said that?
I didn't give him the finger, but I was like,
why
no, I
did
don't
you give
really
him the
believe
finger?
That. Just because, I don't know. You know, come on, Jesse.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm playing.
But, yeah, so baptism, like, I don't know, man. I just feel like they get too into the scripture and they start worshiping the Bible instead, you know what I mean? Like the Bible is God or something. And it's like, it's too much for me. It's just too much. Like, I don't know how to receive that. I don't really, my relationship with God isn't.
If you're asking should you be baptized in water, you don't have to anymore. If you want to, it's fine. But if you don't, no problem. You want to be baptized in the Spirit now. And the New Testament is about being baptized in the Spirit, because to be baptized in the water now is simply mean that you've been cleansed on the inside when you return to the Father. So it's not
Yeah.
important to be baptized in the water anymore.
And I don't know where this thought came from, but I was thinking about it in baptism. And you know how you said we don't do isms?
Right.
So anyways.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's about it.
Baptism of the Spirit now.
Yeah, and so I brought that up to him, and I brought it up to another Christian before, and he just started tripping on me, and I basically cut him off because.
Yeah, just wish him well and go your way. Because of time, Emmanuel, I got to run, but call me again with your list.
Okay, bless.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye. Super chat.
Super chats.
Valerie bought a coffee. Sean, El Jefe, stay with it. Nice.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. SEAN for Sean. Iman from the Netherlands bought 3 coffees. Shout out to you and the crew. Joel, Hake, and the Flat Earther. Laughing face emoji with cheers
Thank you.
sideways.
Amazing.
By the way, what's up with Hake calling me Imam instead of Iman? Iman last time. What the? He white. It was a mistake. I don't know how to read. I just wanted to say I hope all the colored people, if you want to call them that, in the United States understand finally that you are all Americans. Be proud of it.
Yeah.
Teacher at my new school when I was 15, just moved there, told me when I was sitting alone in the recess because I didn't know anyone, try to feel equal and mingle. As long as you shut yourself out, you will Netherland belong. So please don't keep saying our people. We are one under God. Imagine what would happen if a white guy said, we got to take care of our own people first, meaning whites. Not cool. See you guys and have a nice day.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thinking out loud, bought a coffee. It's HE double toothpicks, funny. Well, he says hella funny. When Jesse says, why does God? I don't know. Thank you, thinking out loud.
What does that mean? Is that improper?
No, I don't think so.
Oh. Thank you.
Sion bought a coffee. Hey, boo, number 2. Smiling face, grinning emojis. You not allowed to date, but I can. Laughing face with tears coming out. God lets Satan. Oh, this is a biblical question response here.
Why? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, Sion. Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
He lets Satan test us because he wants to test our faith sometimes, like the book of Job story.
Amazing. Thank you. I'll respond on Sunday. Thank you.
Thinking out loud. Jesse, is it beta for a man to take a few months off from work to just relax and take a break and get some rest?
Well, it's definitely nice to get rest, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know about 2 months worth of rest.
A few
months worth of rest. What's up? Ain't that much tired in the world. Thank you.
Cairo Pocket, biblical question answer.
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
'Cause he black. LOL. Love you, Jesse. No anger here, my friend. Peace sign.
Right on. I love that answer. He black. Thank you.
Amazing Asia. When I looked up the movie Nefarious, it said that it is the genre of movie was Christian horror. So I guess it is a Christian movie. Movie, video camera, film emoji.
Amazing. Thank you.
Delby bought a coffee. God has given me the knowledge of the tree of life and the significance it holds in our life. It could change your life.
Thank you. Amazing. Whatever. Thank you.
And thank you, guys. That's all for now.
I appreciate
believe.
it. Let me go quickly to a first-time caller out of California, Christian. Christian, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi. Thank you, Reverend. How are you?
All is well. You can call me Jesse.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jesse.
Okay.
So my question for you is, what would Jesus do about the 10,000 asylum seekers at the border?
Nothing.
Would he build them houses or would he send them home?
He would send them back home. Hello?
Yep, I heard you.
Yeah, he'll send them back home real fast. He would be like, what the? Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay. Joey, a first-time call out of Texas. Joey, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, thanks, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering about well, a few things. He seems so practical yet impractical in some ways. Like there is no past, but everything that's cultivated is cultivated from the past. Like if I add some mud to the ground right here and put more, it becomes taller because of what I put on in the past.
No, but when you first put the mud there, that happened then. And when you finish with then, it was over. And then the next time you put mud there, it happened then. And when that then was done, it was over with.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, I guess, yeah. And I have a bunch of questions for you. I think you're real fun and real interesting, so hopefully I'll call back another time. But
okay.
It seems like the reason the God would allow the devil to...
Why does God allow the devil to attack you?
I would think it would be something like a test of, like, my life seems like a test of whether I actually care or not, or something like that. It seems like my whole life people were like, do you care? Do you even have a will? My life somehow was like super like that, and it's like, because of that, I get to see that I do have one in relationship to the struggle against that idea.
Amazing. I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday. Do you have a past? Is there a past or a future for you?
Well, I remember things from the past.
Is there a past?
I mean, the past is gone. I know that in some way. Like, fundamentally, the only thing that is here now is here now.
So do you have a past?
I have things I remember.
Do you have a past?
I remember stuff that was in the past right now.
Do you have a past?
Can you tell me what you mean by the question?
Do you have a past? Is there a past?
I have a phone in my hand. I don't have a past in my hand. I don't have a...
Is there? Do you have a past?
Yeah, like you. You remember what we were going to tell us on Monday or on Sunday what happened with your mother.
Where's your past?
It's in my memory now. Same with that mud hill. Like,
Joey, do me a favor. Call me tomorrow if you can, or when you can. We'll pick up on this.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. See you, Jesse.
All right, buddy. I am so out of time. The Hake Report is coming up now. Get on that straight and narrow, folks. Stay present. Forgive your mama. Forgive your dad. All people. Black people and everybody. Forgive your mama, especially the blacks. Mama ain't queen. Well, she's the queen of the devil. And do the silent prayer on the YouTube channel there. www.silentprayer.video. The Hake Report is coming up now. And then after him, Joel Friday TV, he black. And then the Anchor Baby, the American Anchor Baby. Take care. I appreciate your support. Rick from Hampton. Rick, always call late. And Delby out of first time call out of Pennsylvania. I'm out of time, and the callers that are hanging up, call me again. Take care.
Check. I had to get on the track one time. Joel Friday here. Check. Look, stand up. Stand up, we got fighting to do. We gotta show him who boss. He put a Viking in you. He put that lightning in you. Igniting the truth. But you beg and blame and lie and hate and never wanna stand for the truth. So what you planning to do? You understand in the loop. You better go talk to your mama. Better stop at the drama. Better drop all the trauma. Boy, you better stand up and up. Put your hand up and hut. Cause if you don't, then we lose. And then we gotta hear the fake news. Whoa. So you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause I know we can find a way. I know
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, but because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true, it's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father, because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663, and we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father.